Hey guys, okay, I'm gonna do another little message, and then we have our group live at 3:15 in the Google School platform. So I'm gonna try to make this quick. I just wanted to try to get another little message out for you guys because the rest of my week, this week is gonna be super busy, and I just like to kind of make the most of these moments when I have them. Okay, so when I asked my team, my spirit team, which little cards to pull out, just for fun, because yeah, it was feeling like it'd be really good to give an encouraging light. Yeah, they're saying a plasma message, so like a light plasma message, okay, which can be very powerful, by the way, but the intention is for it to not just be powerful, the intention is for it to be encouraging. Okay, so as you guys know, anytime I talk about plasma, I talk about unicorns. It's just, yeah, what can I say? They are some powerful light, aren't they? They're already giving me a message. So first they're saying just show the back of the deck. Okay, so see the auroras? Okay, the aurora has been coming in hot a lot, okay, like through so many sessions that I'm doing here, and I'm sure I'm not the only practitioner seeing this. And the auroras have been teaching us for millennia, whether we knew it or not, okay. But the way that the auroras manifest in sessions is quite diverse, okay. Like I have seen them manifest as a child. I have seen them manifest as a whole collective consciousness. I have seen them come in through individual manifestations of like ascended master guides. Like I'm hearing the Maya, okay? When I hear from the Maya collective, it's always so like euphoric, like just euphoric to channel the Maya, okay? And the wisdom that comes through is incredible. And that vibration, that frequency of the Maya is very similar to the frequency of the auroras, okay? This card came out first, by the way, so I'm going to read it. And we're just going to ask for our guides to help us, okay? So, yep. Okay, so this is the unicorn that came forward. This message is for those who... Okay, so I'm sorry, Spirit's talking right now, so let me divert for a second. The whole message today is going to be focused on the heart, so I just want to say that. They said someone's holding anger in their heart. So the unicorn that came up is anger, okay? The message of this one is safely express your anger. Use anger as a positive force, okay? Honor all of your emotions as sacred. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit because that's really important for awakening souls, okay? If we want to continue to rise in our frequency and continue this ascension process and continue to make progress, you know, I see two things in this message, and it's not necessarily duality, but it's that you cannot ignore your emotions, okay? Rising in frequency can't be because of avoidance, okay? Because that's not going to last. You do need to acknowledge your feelings. You do need to acknowledge where you're at. But when you have those feelings, when you get those feelings of anger or frustration or the heavier emotions, catalyze that into where you want it to be, okay? So the way we continue to rise in frequency while dealing with difficult emotions is not by avoidance. It's by confrontation of those emotions. Actually communicating with those emotions and finding out why we feel the way we feel, okay? And then once you explore that enough, you can then begin to transmute it, okay, and turn it into light. So the message of this plasma unicorn, you know, sometimes the unicorns will compare, they'll say, you know, like just like dragons, they'll say they are the grid lines or the bones or the record keepers of the ancient what do you guys want to call it? Realms of origin. So like where we come from. Okay. So if you don't resonate with unicorns, you know, or if that's like too whimsical for you, just know that it's they're using a symbolism that we can relate to, okay? And that for humans to understand these bigger, greater collective messages, you know, it has to be put in a simple form, is what they're saying. Just like the other day when I was talking about channeling with Three Eye Atlas and all of that, when they came in, even to like channel the message through my body, my whole body just like moved, and then my phone just shut off because there was so much power, okay? So similarly with the unicorns, okay, think about the sacred nature of horses and just how powerful they are, and yet gentle and loving and discerning, and how they don't align with just anybody that wants to ride, okay? And this is why, you know, like I grew up with horses, so I'm familiar with this. This is why some people get thrown off a horse, okay? If there isn't alignment or respect for the being, okay? So if you just looked at unicorns, even in the way that we know them in this realm as horses, okay, or ponies, and the things that we can learn from their nature in this realm, and then expand that cosmically to something even greater, you can begin to understand the wisdom that these beings contain and how they help us, okay? So they're really saying you've got to work with this. You cannot ignore your anger, but learn to express it in a safe way. They really want us to move beyond the lower frequencies. They don't want these outbursts of anger that's not helpful or that causes more damage. That's not, you don't need more holes in your auric field. You don't need to open dark portals. Not right now. We're ascending, okay? But you do need to face these emotions. And I always say this in my messages, just to swing into, you know, the science of healing and awakening, and even the potential need for emotional support. Please reach out. I'm hearing the need to say that. If you need professional support, okay, that is what therapists are for, okay? And there's all different types of therapists with different specialties. I feel that's a Mary Magdalene message. She's saying, yeah, please remind them, okay? You know, yeah, this awakening process, I'm feeling whoever sees this, someone in particular is going to need professional support, okay, to deal with the anger, okay? So don't try to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone, okay? Ask for help, and it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. That's wisdom, okay? I'm reminded of a proverb that says there's wisdom in the counsel of many. And what that means is it doesn't mean you have to do what someone else suggests, but there can be wisdom in bringing in other perspectives, okay? As you bring in these perspectives from trusted sources, okay? So maybe a close friend that you really trust, or a close family member, or a guide, okay? It could be someone who guides you spiritually, but that you trust. When they come in and give you their perspective, that can help you, right? It can help you adjust if needed. It doesn't mean you have to do what they say, but just consider another perspective. When we can bring in other perspectives, it gives us that broader God's eye view, okay? So that's why the proverb is coming up right now, that the wisdom in the multitude of counselors is what it literally says in the proverb. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And that was from Mary Magdalene. She's like, it's okay. So this is leading to expansion, and that's the next card that came up. Dealing with your anger and not running from it and just facing it and facing if you need help and getting the help leads to expansion. So just know that. Okay, I'm going to keep this quick. There's two more. Okay. Yeah, they're saying dance, and I'm hearing somatic movement. Will move that anger through the body and out. It says move your body to music, dance with the rhythm of life, manifest your dreams through dance. That's beautiful. Yes, wow, this one's very powerful. Okay, cycles. And look at this, the messages and all of this, like Just even the unicorn, the look of the eyes and butterflies all around. And it's lending itself to rites of passage is what I'm hearing. And, you know, when we go through cycles of the month or of the year or of lifetimes, okay, honoring where you're at and being okay with it is literally what I'm hearing. And the message here says everything has its right time. Honor the cycles of your body. Tune in to the moon's magic. But the moon is really just about cycles. So it doesn't have to be the moon. It can just be the message of rhythm, okay? And knowing the rhythm of where you are. And you see how right before that you got the card of dancing and rhythm cycles, okay? So learn how to dance where you are is what I'm hearing. And, you know, when you hate where you are, and it can happen to anyone. I've definitely had times in my life where it was very, very difficult. And I didn't like where I was, and it was hard to see the message, right? But when you start to kind of begin to move through it, you can start looking back and learning, and then eventually you'll pivot. And as you really pivot away from it, 1111, as I say that, you can really get the message of it. That's why past life regression work is so nice, because you're not even in that lifetime anymore, right? From this perspective, you can go look at it with a different viewpoint. You can go look at it almost just like a watcher and go in and look and see what happened there and learn from it. So past life regression and hypnosis sessions can be very helpful with what we're describing here. And sometimes when I do sessions, instead of a past life, the person will go back to a past memory in this life that needs to be dealt with. And it can be helpful for that. But that's kind of what I'm hearing right now is like pivot. There's some kind of pivot that needs to happen, okay, in your life. As you make this pivot and the more you swing into it, okay, you'll be able to look back and you'll be able to process what you've been through, okay? What do you want to say about this? So they're showing me like a kind of like a trickster, okay? So this one's trickster, deceit. But what I'm hearing from that is lying to self. So sometimes that card can be someone is deceiving you, but this is more self-deception is what I'm hearing. Okay? Okay, so they're clarifying. And this is what comes up next. Healer of the ages. Okay? What I'm getting from this is you are very powerful and destined to do great things, and you don't think you're cut out for it. And that's a lie. Okay? That's a lie. And what I'm feeling from this is there's an entity that's trying to play on that self-doubt that you have. 1313, as I said that. They're trying to utilize your self-doubt to keep you from expanding. Remember, the unicorns say you're expanding, okay? Well, what happens when a healer of the ages expands? What happens to the deceiver? Okay, there you go. So stop it. Believe in yourself. Choose yourself, because you are a healer of the ages. And when a powerful ancient soul heals, many heal. It's the natural result, okay? This is beautiful. What do you want to say about it? I'm getting a message of multiple things, okay? So this says, come to the edge. And this says, loyal heart, okay? What do you want to say about this, guides? They're saying Mary Magdalene's talking. What do you want to say? She's saying to show you in this, it's hard to see in this picture, but that stone has a face, okay? And do you see how dancing is coming up again? She's dancing, just like the unicorn said, dance, okay? Come to the edge, expansion. Here's the message again, okay? the ebb and flow of the universe is like the ebb and flow of the ocean. The way it expands is kind of the push and pull, okay? This darkness that we have faced, this anger, is catapulting you into expansion, okay? This is why it's important to let go of the lies. Because you're a healer of the ages, okay? Go to the edge, okay? And I said this in the class, the hypno class that I taught this week. We practitioners, okay, of different modalities. For me, you know, all the stuff that I do here, all the classes I teach, all of that, but many others and all the things they do. We are working on the fringe for a reason. Expansion. The way you expand is on the edge, okay? Come to the edge. And I'm seeing the mirroring here of the owls. You know, owls represent wisdom, and this says loyal heart. So the feeling I'm getting from that is you have a very loving ancient guide bringing you through this. And there's a mirroring effect. So they're reflecting back to you what you need to see. Sometimes the message can hit hard, right? When we find out that, you know, sometimes we're deceiving ourselves. But see the message and then make the pivot, okay? Because it's leading to something amazing. Which one? Okay. Mercury, open communication. Get the weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. Wow. Okay. And you see it said loyal heart. Speak up with love and be heard. It's okay to say how you feel. What do you want to say about that? Every step you take to heal yourself, they're giving a duality to this. Well, it's not really duality, but it's an expansive message. So every step you take to heal yourself is going to catapult your life in a good way, okay, to where you want it to be. But it's also going to expand the collective. The collective is only a reflection of where we are, okay, individually. So please remember that every step you take to heal yourself, you're taking for all of humanity. That's how we heal the world, one person at a time, okay? Is there anything else you want to say about this? Because I know we're limited on time today. That's it, okay? And just recap, deal with your anger, get help if you need it. And that push and that pull of those negative emotions and dealing with them, pushing you into the light, forcing you to see your worth, is going to lead to expansion. And it's super important that you don't listen to the negative thoughts. Don't do it. Not from anyone and not from yourself, because you are a healer of the ages, okay? And you are being divinely guided by wisdom. See that symbol of wisdom, the owls. Remember the symbol of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, okay? The Sophia is mirroring us to help us see ourselves so we can grow, okay? And don't be afraid to get out there and dance and work on the edge, in the sense of like, get into your uncomfortable zone, right? That's how we expand, so that we can do this, okay? Don't be afraid. You're being supported, and you're being supported by divine light and source and love. So you're okay, you're safe, you can do this, okay? I'm sending you guys my love. Have a wonderful day.